What is up, guys? I'm here hitting you up with a new Etheria restart video. Today we want to talk about where the new characters Ninfoniel and Gatsby rank in the overall PvE tier list. If you didn't check out my previous tier list, link in the description down below so you know why I rank specific characters where they are currently. If you didn't see that, go check that out as well. But for this video, I will not go in depth about every single character which I rank because this is already done. Now here I'm only just doing adjustments and let you know where I rank these two new characters into the tier list. Now before we jump right into Ninfoniel and the Gatsby, we have to make like two adjustments I want to make to the tier list itself, or maybe one adjustment which I will show you later down the line. But the only adjustment from the video I posted is the Arkachi. Arkachi was before ranked in the C tier. I upgraded him into the B tier category. Quick thing in eigener Sache, 75% of you guys are still not subscribed to the channel, so feel free to subscribe so you do not miss out on any future content. Now we got the two new characters, Ninfoniel and Gatsby. So how do we rank these characters? Before we rank them, we have to talk about what they provide to the team, what their roles are, and obviously how their general role in PvE is, right? Now let's kick things off with Ninfoniel first. So Ninfoniel is a support unit. She is marketed as basically a Rango killer, which is absolutely not the case. At best, you get the same performance as you got before. Does the exact same thing if you run a Valerian, for example, in terms of just... If we look at Rengoku, I feel like still that Valerian is better than Ninfoniel just because of the depth protection that helps a lot for the overall success rate when you're trying to farm Rango Inferno. But outside of that, what does she bring to the table? How many lattices does she need? Stuff like that, right? Now, ideally, I think she's a character in PvE, at least. In my opinion, the way she is used right now, she works perfectly fine at 111. But I feel like the ideal way you want to have her is at 113 because you want to get the 40% attack boost with the Rhyme Bloom, and you also want to have 25% of her max HP scaling for the shield because the Rhyme Bloom effect only lasts as long as the shield is up. Basically similar to Hellkit, with Hellkit having the immunity, right? And it's the same with the Rhyme Bloom effect. So ideally you run her on like triple HP, right? And then have that skill at level 3, so it scales of 25% off her max HP, so you have a fixed shield. So the longer you actually have that effect up for your party members, right? Especially for longer battles, generally speaking. Now, where can we use her? We can actually use Ninfoniel literally everywhere. You can use her for Teramaton, you can use her for Doki, you can use her for Aurora. I'm still not 100% sure how I want to include her personally in my team for Aurora, at least for the time being. But she's already a staple for my Doki Inferno team. I replaced my Freya with Ninfoniel, and now my Messiah is able to one-shot wave 2, which effectively guarantees me a 40-second Doki Inferno run. I don't have any issues with Inferno anymore. And what with Inferno? I mean, with like one-shotting the second wave, because with the Freya I had the advantage of, okay, in the first wave a little bit of revelation damage coming in, so the Messiah kills wave 1 and then going into wave 2. But wave 2 Freya doesn't really do that much anymore. But outside of that, the Ninfoniel really helps because I don't need any extra sort of chip damage, because the damage buff is so huge. You just simply don't need it. That's about it. You just simply don't need it. And also for the shell dungeons, you can also include her literally everywhere because you have the attack up, you have the immunity. She's very good for Sharon. She's really good for Nikonana as well. She is for Rango, you can use her. She doesn't perform better than Valerian, but she still performs there as well, so you can use her there. You can throw her in all the Union Boss PT stuff like that, right? And based on that, based on her overall performance, I have to give it to her. She's a S tier unit. What I have to think about is the value of Valerian now that Ninfoniel exists, right? This is a question we have to ask ourselves in terms of PvE content, because I feel like the only place where I really use Valerian is either in the Teramaton, but even though I personally do not use her anymore there because I have a speed team, so I don't need her. in there. Then also the other place is Rengokutsu. Rengokutsu is the only place where she is really good at, but she can be replaced with Ninfoniel. So it's hard for me to say if she actually, in terms of tier list, got replaced by Ninfoniel. Like everywhere where you could use Valerian, you can also use the Ninfoniel, and you can also use it in other places. So it could also be a case where we have to do, this is a discussion we have to do, is if Valerian drops down now to the A tier category because she gets outshined by Ninfoniel in general. Because she is really good at what she does, the attack, the shield, but outside of that, she's just a sitting duck, right? Now with her, at least, you do have the immunity, you have the attack buff, you have also the equalization of the HP, you have the healing a little bit. The S1 is whatever, S1 doesn't do anything, let's be honest here. But in terms of how we have to discuss like meta unit, do you want to use that character if you have the other option as well? Probably not. I said, for me personally, I use Valerian in Rengo, but I'm trying to make a difference here. Obviously, I could still let her sit in there because you could use her, but I'm also trying to look at it from my personal perspective where I actually use her, and I actually only use her in one specific dungeon, and that is Rengo. Outside of Rengo, I'm not even using Valerian anymore at all. And barely in like very situational, I use her in PvP, but this is not a PvP tier list, this is a PvE tier list. And based on that, I think I have to downrank Valerian now to 80. Absolutely fantastic unit. Absolutely. If Ninfoniel did not exist, I would still think she's S, but now with the addition of the Ninfoniel, I think we have to rank down Valerian A tier. It doesn't make her worse. She's still absolutely fantastic, but we now have to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture just tells she just fell off the meta slightly. Nonetheless, a fantastic unit and can still be used. Now we got Gatsby. Now Gatsby is also very, very interesting. Now, I mean, if you saw my extensive review video of the great Gatsby, you know how I feel about this guy. Amazing unit. I think in terms of PvE, the only content really he sucks at is Armaton and Carry. Those are the two units he sucks at, but that's like, okay, whatever. To be honest, he can probably be used for Rengokutsu Inferno once he's 555. But I still believe that even Rengo 555 is not as good as if you would run a Didding or a, let's say, a Lilium or maybe even a Yali. Unless we could manipulate it in a way that we always start out red, then probably very, very strong. But this is where he's like a little bit weaker, and like for Thermaton and Sharon's, obviously because of the elemental thing, you don't necessarily want to bring him in there. But besides that, everything else, he is a menace. You can run him in Doki. Doki, he one-shots, by the way. So it's crazy how much damage he does in Doki. Then you can also combine him together with the Ninfoniel. Very, very strong there. You can one-shot everything. He can be your Doki farmer, no problem. 113 is good enough. With 113, he got all the damage in the world to just straight up shoot down on Doki. You're good to go. He doesn't need to be max skilled for that, for the PvE side of the game. Aurora, he does a fantastic job nuking down the boss. Nikonana, he's a fantastic speed running, very strong unit. And based on that, and I will talk more about him, based on that, I have to rank him in S tier. He is, in terms of PvE, he's not a double S tier, even though I would love to rank him there. But I have to keep it real here because of the fact that he's not that great for Rengo, he's not farmable in Terra, and he's not usable in Sharon. I think maybe you can use him in Sharon, it might work even. But like what you really... because of elemental things, I have to rank him just a tier lower below these other units in terms of PvE. Does it make him worse? No, it just means that these units over here at the top are just a little bit more versatile in terms of where you can use them in PvE. But the very, very powerful thing about him is he does a shit ton of damage. If you use him, he will be absolutely meta for Cage Rumble. Nikonana, he will shoot up your score like crazy. He will do that for you 100%, no matter what. Then you have the Phantom Pieta, you have the Union Boss. He will be a meta unit for these two contents as well. Very, very strong. And also do not forget about like any sync stuff like that, or for example the MaTeIRiA content. Now, if the bosses, for example, do not have a dot immunity, now you can combo him in with like a CC team. You can combo him with like an Obol, with a Fangus, or even with a Shadow Zanya, right? Because he can extend the dots, and that makes him also very, very powerful in general, because you can just extend, you have the damage and you can extend the dots. And the more debuffs you get on the boss or whoever unit, he provides exceptionally more damage. And also, like when you face maybe red bosses, for example, in whatever Amber track or whatever you might do, right? You want to bring him because he dishes out so much damage. Is absolutely insane. He's such a fantastic unit. He's also very good in PvP, but that will be a topic for another video. And also, once I have more lettuce invested into him, I do want to revisit him. But the fact that he's so good with just 2 lettuce investment as a DPS unit is mind-blowing. It's actually mind-blowing how good he is with just a little bit of investment overall. Fantastic unit. You cannot go wrong with him at all. And based on that and based on his performance, because in my opinion, Gatsby set a new bar in terms of blue DPS. Like, he definitely set a new bar, and based on what he said, I have to downrank Rosa to A tier. And Ziada is still A tier, doesn't change anything, but I have to downrank Rosa because I cannot set Rosa and Gatsby into the same tier list. I cannot. Before, yeah, but Gatsby did not exist, but now that this guy exists, yeah, we have to downrank. You can play them in synergy, that works perfectly fine. You can do that. That works also. Like for Cage Rumble, this will be a deadly combo. Combining these two, Gatsby and Rosa together, probably insane, or even with other stuff like Union Boss, PT maybe even. This could be like a very insane combo together. But generally, like, he's just the better blue unit overall in terms of DPS. And this is how I rank these two new units. So both Gatsby and Ninfoniel. By the way, I do not rank based on, yeah, strongest to weakest or something. So don't think like just because something is on the left it's better than something is on the right. No, it's just in the tier, right? Because it doesn't make sense for me to rank like a support unit and DPS unit, like, okay, who's slightly better than others, like whatever. But yeah, I just rank them into the same tier. Both are S tier category units, no doubt whatsoever. They are that good. Yeah. And that sums up the entire tier list and how I feel about these two new characters in Etheria Restart. Guys, let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And as always, guys, if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below. I really appreciate it, and see you with the next one. Deuces.